It's a big show.
I must dig my dig in the mashed potatoes. Go hog.
This is a team sport. It's not a talent-based sport.
We got Bobby fucking Petrino back. If I'm honest with myself right now, it's a cool 12-0. Oh, look at that tornado. Welcome, everybody, to the College Football Tailgate, the big show. As you can tell, I'm not XFL Jim. XFL Jim, not feeling too hot today, so I'm taking over hosting duties for him. Who am I? I'm Chase Sessoms, the Wolf of Oaklawn. Joining us, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, the Uncle Rico. What's going on, Unc?
Nothing much, man. You know, feeling a little better. Got the voice back. Still coughing up some phlegm, but you know, can't complain.
I'm glad to hear that you're on the mend. We also wish Jim the best. We hope he's on the mend too. We got an exciting day of college football ahead of us, don't we? We got some big time matchups.
Dude, should be a fun day. You know, I'm really trying to get myself there with Army. Like, really trying to get myself there with Army. I don't know if I can do it, though.
We'll see. We'll see if he can do it. Hell, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into today's games, see where everyone's got some action. Starting off, a game that should probably be at 6 o'clock, but is at 11 o'clock. The Ohio State Buckeyes and Indiana Hoosiers. Ohio State a 10.5-point favorite. Indiana plus 325 on the money line. Total set at 53. I'm in this. I know I'm in this. Are you?
I have nothing, man.
I don't want this Indiana train to stop rolling. And I think that Ohio State has played some really close games when it comes to you know, tougher teams. I think Indiana is able to cover this 10.5, and they stay in the college football playoff conversation. So I'm taking them plus the 10.5 here.
And also, we need to remember Ohio State had a key offensive line injury. Their center went down, so that's 2 that they've lost this year. So they're deep, but the one position group that is lacking is the offensive line. So I think this could be the game where we kind of see it kind of play out a little bit. And, you know, Skinetti, all that little fucker does is win, man.
Yeah. Yeah. He's done it everywhere he's been. Just Google him.
Just Google
so I'm yeah, man. I'm in on Indiana to cover plus the 10.5. Moving on, we've got the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, the number 11 Miami Hurricanes. Miami a 23.5-point favorite. Could you get there with either side of this?
I could not, my friend. I could not.
Me either. This feels like a sleepy spot for Miami. They're a little bit downtrodden. It could be a bounce back, but might be too many points.
What was I saying? Sorry, I'm having some connect. I'm trying to go to Instagram on this and just seeing if it was working. I'm not the biggest Miami guy. I think they're going to lose probably in the ACC championship game. I think they're going to get boat raced if they do bluff their way into the college football playoffs. But I just can't get there with Wake. Wake just doesn't have the dogs to exploit Miami's weakness when it comes to defending the pass rush and exploiting their back four.
Well, the Iowa Hawkeyes and Maryland Terrapins. Iowa 4-point favorite. Maryland plus 145 on the money line. Total set at 43.5. You got anything here, Uncle Rico?
Now, full transparency, I got this at 6.5 for Maryland. And so I bet Maryland plus 6.5 plus 200 on the money line. I still like it here. Maryland they need to win out to win a bowl game. So what I like to do in the weeks like this is kind of look at these teams that need to piece 2 games together in order to get to that magical 6 number to get to a bowl. Loxley back to calling plays for Maryland, which I think is going to help out long run. I know it hasn't looked good the couple games he's done it, but I like the flow of the offense. I think they're going to be able to take advantage of this Iowa defense, which isn't up to Iowa standards. When we look at it, plays of 20 yards or more, they've already allowed more this year than they allowed the previous 2 seasons at the end of the year. So this defense just isn't what it used to be. They lost 3 guys into the league, and it's really starting to show with a huge drop. Jackson Staton is starting for Iowa. Do you know what this kid was doing 3 weeks ago?
I'm gonna say he was going to classes and not thinking about football.
No, well, I mean, he was the middle linebacker on the scout team.
Oof.
And now he's going into Maryland on the road in Big Ten play, laying points on a team that's desperate, looking to win. Iowa's already got that 6. Iowa winning with margin is something I always kind of look to fade. So I'll take Maryland here. I got it 6.5 and plus 200, but I still like it anything over 4.
Very nice. Very nice. On to a team who's got a lot to play for. Ole Miss taking on the Florida Gators. Ole Miss a 13-point favorite. Florida plus 400 on the money line. Total set at 55.5. This feels like it could be a big letdown spot for Florida, but the number still feels a little too big for me.
They're banged up, man. Like, I wanted to get there. Obviously, for me, I looked at it, if Ole Miss didn't have that bye after beating Georgia, and that was this game, I'd be hammering Florida here. But Florida, insanely banged up. Ole Miss coming off a bye. So I can't get there. And when we look at these teams, I think right now, teams that kind of have that I wouldn't want to play Ole Miss. And I'm obviously talking the college football playoff. And I wouldn't want to play Georgia. Those would be the 2 teams that I'd kind of be scared off of playing. How about you?
One, it's in the swamp. That's always something to consider. I want to say that this is the huge letdown game for Florida, but I mean, they beat a LSU team that was their rival, but just not that great. I don't know. I could either see this being close or Ole Miss absolutely boat racing them. So it became a don't touch for me.
Okay.
We've got SMU taking on Virginia. SMU 11.5-point favorite. Virginia plus 350. Total also set at 55.5. I kind of wanted to get there with Virginia. I didn't do it. I feel like that's a kind of a pesky team that sticks around more than they should. And SMU's got a lot to play for. I mean, booties are getting tight when it comes to winning games.
I took UVA here. I got it 9.5 and plus 280. Elliott 67% ATS. Home dog 75%. As a dog in ACC play, an insane 13-3. And now let's just kind of take a step back. Who has SMU really played? Now, look, I know you play who's in front of you. I get that. But you do have to kind of look at their body of work. Their only really impressive win has been Louisville. Everyone else, you're kind of like, eh. You know, you beat Stanford with a freshman quarterback making his first start. I just haven't been that impressed. And this was a team I was down at the beginning of the season. Also, SMU's back 4 is really bad. I really think that's what Virginia is going to look to do. Virginia will push the ball downfield. The way you attack this UVA defense is on the ground. But SMU has kind of struggled attacking teams with the rushing game this year. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Virginia here. I got a 9.5 and plus 280.
I don't want to tip our hand here, but we might see this later in a play for Jim.
Ooh, Jimmy.
Moving on, Jimmy getting spicy. Moving on, we've got UConn and Syracuse. Syracuse a 10.5-point favorite. UConn plus 300. Total set at 54.5. UConn's been a little bit more feisty. Yeah, a little more feisty. A little more feisty than people would think.
And I kind of feel like Jim Moore is at that point of his career where it's like, you know what? I'm good. I guess he can obviously look to go someplace else, but for him, I'd say at UConn. UConn's got some money. He's getting paid well. Why go someplace else to create a headache? Let's just roll with it.
I am a simp for the Syracuse Orange team, but I've decided not to play this one today. Syracuse lets me down from time to time. UConn's a little bit more feisty, kind of like we said. It was a skip for me. My heart says Syracuse covers, but don't bet on what my heart says. Real quick question from the chat. Let's make some money. 69 thoughts on the LSU quarterback flipping to Michigan. I don't know if you saw the video that someone did with AI of Brian Kelly talking about how pissed he was that the guy flipped, but I don't know. If you see the way that Brian Kelly talks to his players and actually interacts with his players, would you want to play for Brian Kelly?
I mean, the best Brian Kelly story I've ever told was way back when Robert Saleh and Matt LaFleur were on his staff at CMU. He said, hey, do you guys want to come to my holiday party? Those guys show up thinking in their heads, because they're on the staff at CMU when Kelly was the coach, that they were going to be invited in the party. They roll up. Kelly has them park cars for the party. I mean, that's just vintage Brian Kelly right there. Yeah, but it's just a money grab right now. And LSU offered 10, and Michigan offered 12.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to now.
Just basically, it's a money grab. Excuse me. And I know all the Michigan fans are pumped up about it. Portnoy and the Small Dick Energy are really going heavy on the tweeting yesterday, but we don't know how good this guy is. He's fucking 18. We have no idea how good this guy is going to be at the collegiate level. From what we're seeing, he could be good, but a lot can change when you get to college. So we'll just kind of see how that all plays out for him and everything. But Michigan still does have a lot of holes, and they don't have a coach. So I'll still be betting there under.
Yeah, I kind of feel that I don't know. I think that with Michigan, they needed a quarterback. I feel like it was probably more of like an immediate need. This is where I can play immediately, in addition to the money. That's probably the biggest factor, though. We've got North Carolina taking on Boston College. North Carolina, 2.5-point favorite. Boston College plus 120. Total set at 50.5. And if I'm not mistaken, Castellanos hit the transfer portal and he's already out of college.
He's gone, which was a little weird. I don't understand why I did that, but okay.
Still, home dogs here within a field goal. It's not one of my official plays, but I'm thinking about adding Boston College plus 120 on the money line just because it's a system play for me.
I'll tell you what. I have no idea how old man Mac Brown is still coaching.
I don't either. Whenever he went in and said to the players, if you don't think I'm doing a good job, I'll resign. I don't understand how all the players were like, I don't think you're doing a good job.
Well, they probably respected him because he's so old, and it pissed. I bet on them plus money against Duke, and I feel that game took 4 years off my life. I don't get worked up watching games. I felt that took 4 years off my life.
It's the 4 bad years that you didn't want anyway, though, to be fair. Who wants to live to 115? 111 is a good time to tap out.
I'm lucky. I'm going to be lucky if I get to 60, dude.
I disagree. I think you're going to live forever, Uncle Rico. Here we go. Some might say the biggest game of the day, or no one might say that. Illinois goes into Piscataway to take on Rutgers. Rutgers is a 2-point favorite at home over the ranked Illini. The Illini plus 105 on the money line. Total just moved to 47.5 as I was speaking. I'm in here. What about you?
Yeah, nothing.
Give me Illinois on the money line. I'm all in on Burt this year. This might be Burt's greatest season, I think, doing this with Illinois. I know he went to Wisconsin, Rose Bowls and everything, but still. Doing this with less at Illinois, I think, is a major accomplishment. I think he keeps it rolling. It's within a field goal. I know they're on the road, but I like the plus money on Illinois here over a Rutgers team that's really kind of fizzled. And if I'm not mistaken, have an injured running back.
How many wins does Rutgers have? You know, off the top of your head?
I want to say they might be sitting at 5 or 6.
Okay.
So this could be the spot where they jump up and get them to get bowl eligible. I mean, it's
Michigan State next week. Both of them could be sitting at 5. That could be a barn burner of a game.
That could be tough. Here's a game that's sneakily a barn burner. If you pay attention to CUSA, congratulations, because you're going to see a good one when Sam Houston State takes on the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. Jack State -4.5. Sam Houston +170 on the money line. Total set at 57. I'm not going to touch this one, but I'm going to enjoy watching it and be cheering for Jacksonville State because that's my group of 5 darling.
Yeah, Rich Rod obviously has those guys back playing a lot better. They start off the season real poorly against Coastal, but they've kind of figured out their offensive line issues. Offense looks a lot more cleaner. I would lean toward Jack State, but they got Jack and shit in this game, my friend.
What do you think happens to Rich Rod after the season, after the job he's done at
I think he's the same thing as Mora. Why move? If you're making good money, you're at this stage of your life. If the wife seems to be happy where you are, why make a big change to go to a more stressful, big-time job?
If you're going to bowl games at Jack State, then you're definitely doing probably more than they expected, right?
Yeah. But on the flip side, how much stress is there, though? You know what I mean? I guess that's my point. Like, if he goes to, let's say, throw some, I don't know, just a random school that's in like a Purdue, okay? Hypothetically, like a Purdue. He's not going to, you're playing against teams with bigger budgets. The expectation is going to be higher. You're at the back half of your life. Why not stay where you are, make money? If your wife's happy there, it wouldn't make sense for him to move. Now, if he was like younger, early 40s, late 30s, I get it. But at Rich Rod's stage of his life, same thing with Mora. I just feel that it just doesn't make sense.
11:45. We've got the Georgia Bulldogs taking on the UMass Minutemen. This is going to be a barn burner. Georgia.
I had no idea UMass fired their coach.
Why do you fire your coach if you're UMass?
You're making that step up to MAC, I know, but what? Like, why?
Why? It's like the Kennesaw State firing. Why?
Did you see how Biff got fired and then he came on the like? How would you react if you're an interim coach, like, and you see like Biff coming on and like give like all the players ready to go over there and giving him hugs? Like, talk about an awkward situation.
Yeah, that would be. Usually we like to rally around the interim angle, but this seems like the opposite. This doesn't seem like anyone's happy that Biff's gone.
And Biff plays, and Charlotte plays FAU, who fired their coach as well.
Ooh, interim bowl. Georgia's a 42-point favorite over UMass. Total set at 55.5. Do you really want to be the person with the -42 ticket in your pocket if that doesn't cash?
No, but I'm going to be the person that parlays. I mean, it's that UMass plus the points in the second half and the second half under, though. I'm going to be that guy.
That's what I'm fucking talking about right there. I love that. I love that swing. We've got Western Kentucky taking on Liberty, if you will. Liberty, a slim 1-point favorite. Western Kentucky -105 on the money line. Total set at 56. I'm in here. What about you?
How on brand of it, one more thing, was it for UMass to lose the game last week in overtime against Liberty because of a missed extra point?
Very on brand. Very on brand.
I got nothing here. I'd probably go with Western Kentucky just because I feel Liberty is kind of limping, but I have nothing.
I did exactly that. I went with Western Kentucky on the money line, minus 105, because Liberty is limping, and I think Western Kentucky is actually maybe the best team in that conference. And I think that they spread it out, they score some points, and they get the dub here. So I'm not messing with the +1 at minus 110. Give me the more value with the money line play, minus 105.
I like it. I like it.
Now, talking about big spreads again, Tennessee at home hosting the UTEP Miners. Tennessee, 41-point favorite. 53.5 is the total. Money line is off here. Part of me wants to maybe attack this with the first half under for Tennessee. Or for the first half total, because I've seen them fizzle in the first half so many times, but I mean, they're also taking on a much weaker opponent here. So it became a don't touch for me.
I got nothing. How are they going to respond after that loss to Georgia? I got nothing here.
All right. Moving on. We've got some action at 1:00. Bowling Green taking on Ball State. Bowling Green, an 11.5 road favorite. Ball State plus 350. Total set at 56. Isn't
coaches bump for Ball State? Ball State fired their coach too.
Could be that might be a good place to sprinkle a little bit on the plus 11.5. I do think that Bowling Green wins this game, but I mean, you got the rally around the interim magic. They might be able to keep it close. Bowling Green, talk about a pleasant surprise in the MAC this year.
Best team in the MAC by far.
The Rice Owls. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. Nothing.
The Rice Owls take on the UAB Blazers, the Fighting Dilfs. UAB, a home 7-point dog. They're plus 210 on the money line. 51.5 is the total. I find both of these teams confounding, and I want no part of anything. I cannot tell you what either of these teams will do on any given week.
Did you see your UAB switch to as their quarterback? They switched to Jalen Kitna, who is John Kitna's son, who got kicked out of Florida because of child pornography.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
How is this kid allowed to play, dude? How is
the charges got dismissed. I think he was completely cleared of it. But yeah, like he's always going to have that stain on his name of being arrested for child pornography.
I mean, Jesus, dude.
Like, I think if the charges weren't dropped, well, one, he'd be in prison, but two, like, would he have to introduce himself to the other team as a registered sex offender?
Probably. Like,
yeah, there might be some 17-year-olds on that other team.
He reached a plea deal that resulted in pleading no contest to 2 misdemeanor counts of breach of the peace.
If he pled no contest, I think we've got the Dilf and the Diddler on the same team here. Have
you heard of that?
Of what?
Peace?
No, I haven't. That's such a throwaway charge, man. Breach of the peace. That's some Florida shit.
All right, let's just move on. I could go down. I could go off here. Let's just move on.
New Mexico State, Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee's 3-point favorite. New Mexico State plus 140 on the money line. 52.5 is the total. Middle Tennessee, a lot better than I thought they were going to be. Surprised they're actually favored here. Why would I have any action in this? I got
nothing here. I don't trust Middle Tennessee State's defense at all.
James Madison, Appalachian State. App State's plus 7.5 dogs at home. They're plus 240 on the money line. Total set at 58. I'm in this. What about you?
I'm still bitter. My App State win total is null and void because their one game got canceled. But I get it because of the hurricane. I got no action here. I
took JMU minus 7.5. I don't understand. I don't understand why the spread is so close with the season that Appalachian State's had. James Madison is boat racing people. They're kind of like the Detroit Lions in the sense that like it's not enough for them to beat you; they need to clown you in the process too. And I think that they're easily 2 touchdowns better than App State here.
Yeah.
The Charlotte 49. Go ahead.
I see that.
The Charlotte 49ers, the FAU Owls. Charlotte with the interim. In the interim bowl, a 2.5-point favorite on the road, FAU plus 120, total set at 49. This would be another system play for me where FAU within a field goal at home, dogs plus money on the money line. Not one that I have, but one that I think that you should consider.
I got nothing here. Nothing.
Arizona, TCU, an 11.5-point favorite at home. Arizona plus 325 on the money line. Total set at 59.5. I feel like these are the 2 teams I know the least about in the Big 12.
I mean, there's already rumors going around that Arizona wants to make a switch at the quarterback position. Not the quarterback, the coaching position, excuse me, after 1 year. So, kind of internal turmoil, but this is a lot of points. They did look better last week against Houston. I'd probably lean toward Arizona. I've gone to my head. I had to make a bet, but I have nothing here.
FIU, Kennesaw State plus 9.5 at home. FIU minus 350 Kennesaw State plus 275 on the money line. Total set at 43. This Kennesaw State team, a little bit bad. But what do you expect with the move to FBS, right?
A little bit bad.
Just a little.
A little bit bad. All I know is I need this to get to that over 4.5 for FIU, which is hanging on by a thread, and going to be a little bit of a sweat because they lost to Monmouth back in September. But, I need FIU here. I'm going to probably sit out this game and then probably look to hedge off of that if they win and play Middle Tennessee State next week.
Here's a game I wish I played because I would be all over. Oh, never mind. I read it wrong. If it was the other way, then I would have. I'm not on this game, though. South Alabama, Southern Miss. Southern Miss is a 24-point home dog against South Alabama. They are plus 1,100 on the money line. Total set at 54.5. I really like this South Alabama team. Really like their quarterback. But holy shit, that is a ton of points.
I got nothing here.
The UL Monroe Warhawks, the early season darling who's kind of fallen off, and the Arkansas State Red Wolves, a team that's surging a little bit after a tough loss to Louisiana. Oh, when I say tough loss, I mean they got absolutely fucking obliterated by University of Louisiana. Arkansas State is a 2.5-point favorite. UL Monroe plus 120 on the money line. Total set at 51.5. You getting in on this fun belt?
I got nothing.
I got nothing also. If I were going to make a play, it would be Arkansas State here. I've been kind of slamming them unabashedly all season. East Carolina, the North Texas with the best probably mascot in the biz, the Mean Green. The Mean Green, a 3-point favorite at home. East Carolina plus 120. This might be the highest total of the week, 73.
Well, North Texas defense is a little brutal. I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I'm not on it. If I were going to be on a side, it'd be North Texas. Here we go. Stanford and the Calgorithm, the Cal Golden Bears. Cal minus 14.5. The Stanford plus 475 on the money line. 53.5 is the total. Does Stanford have a chance to keep this close with the way that Cal's been playing, letting teams back into it?
No.
They're coming off of a big win, aren't they?
Yeah. Who did Cal beat last week?
Can't remember.
I'm pulling up right now, my friend.
Let's make some money. I will check.
They lost to Syracuse.
They lost to Syracuse. Okay.
And then they have Samford on there. SMU on deck.
There we go.
So
all right. Yeah, I didn't touch it. I feel like Stanford might keep this one close, but who am I to trust Stanford? Colorado and Kansas. Colorado 2.5-point favorite. Kansas plus 120 dog at home. 59.5 is the total. Can Kansas stay hot?
I love Kansas here. I sound like a broken record. We're doing it for the third straight week. The way to beat Kansas is what? You run the ball. Colorado is a pass-heavy offense. Kansas has not one, but two cornerbacks that are going to be drafted and playing on Sunday. Daniels looks healthy. Because of that, the offense looks better. Him and Neal have been explosive combo running the ball, and that's the way you want to attack Colorado. You don't, obviously, with Sanders and Hunter in the back four, you don't want to attack them. You want to attack on the defensive line, run the ball. That's what Kansas is going to do. Leipold, 71% ATS as a dog. Colorado has not beaten a ranked team this year. And when we look back at their schedule, what's their biggest win? Like literally, like what is their biggest win? Kansas has more in the last 2 weeks, has more top 25 wins than Colorado does. Lance Leipold, the Grim Reaper, ended Iowa State season, ended BYU season. Let's just put one more team on it. Give me Kansas here plus the 3.
Ooh, I like the play. Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina, 2-point home favorite. Georgia Southern plus 110 on the money line. Total set at 58. And no thank you. No thank you for me in this one.
No thank you as well.
Tulsa, South Florida, 18-point favorite over Tulsa, plus 575 on the money line for Tulsa. 61 is the total. Yeah. Part of me wants to dabble on Tulsa, but I couldn't get there.
I'm so disappointed. Just so disappointed in South Florida this year. Just disappointed. I don't know what else to say. Just disappointed.
Just a sad year for South Florida. Here's a big game. BYU, Arizona State. Arizona State's a 3-point favorite. BYU plus 140 on the money line. Total set at 49. I'm in here. What about you?
I got nothing, my friend.
I'm taking BYU on the money line here. I think that this is a bounce back spot for them. Arizona State just seems to be kind of, I don't know. I think it's a mixed bag with what you get with them. It kind of depends on injuries. If they're getting healthy, then I think that, this could be a scare for BYU. But I think the BYU actually handles business here. The BYU at quarterback gets it done. Plus 140 on the money line for me.
I definitely think this was one of the last ones on the chopping board for me. I very believe in buying low, selling high when it comes to betting. And I kind of feel that this is the bottom of the market for BYU. Like right now, they're kind of rating them off. We're getting them at a discounted price, and this should be a lot close to a pick 'em. So I agree with you that BYU is the side.
All right. Hold on, my screen's refreshing. Completely lost where I am. Nope. Here we go. Northwestern and Michigan. Michigan 10.5-point favorite. Northwestern plus 350 on the money line. Total set at 36.5.
I mean, who's Michigan to be laying points? Just that's all I have to say. If I were to take Michigan. Take Northwestern, excuse me.
I tend to agree. Here we go. This is a big one. One of these teams leaves the game bowl eligible. The Wisconsin Badgers, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska is a 1-point home favorite. Wisconsin, even money on the money line. Total set at 41.5.
Did you see Wisconsin let go Big Phil?
Phil Longo? Yep.
Yeah. So, I got nothing here. Nothing at all.
For Jim's sake, I hope that we see a win for Nebraska here.
Do you think? Can you imagine if it comes down to like the last week for Jim and Nebraska to make a bowl game? I mean,
I don't know if Jim's heart can stand it with the way he eats and smokes.
I mean, excuse me, but yeah, that's definitely
For some reason, I'm not showing the line for Kentucky and Texas. Let me see if I can find it somewhere else.
I think it's because they don't really know what's going on with Kentucky's quarterback position. They don't really know who's going to be starting there. Obviously, the spot says to kind of take Texas here. Texas has Texas A&M on deck, a de facto play-in game for the college football playoff. But this Kentucky and Stoops has been great as a dog at home. But this Kentucky team, it's just starting a freshman quarterback last week. There's just so many questions about them. I can't get involved here. This is just a pass for me. I would need like a 24-28 to get involved. But yeah, I got nothing.
I'm also not showing the line for this. Penn State and Minnesota. Do you have that handy?
Oh my God. I honestly, I took Minnesota here. I wonder if something happened and there's someone out. I took Minnesota here plus the 11.5, and I also took them plus 360 on the money line. Teams flat getting 7.5 or more is 64% against the number. 57% ATS off of a loss. It is senior day here up in Minnesota. Oh, I'm like 18.5 for Texas. I'm seeing an 18.5 for Texas right now.
Okay.
And then this one right here, I am pulling it up. I am sorry. 11.5 still. Minnesota, top 20 defense in the country. And this Penn State offense, we were all hyped about the offensive coordinator coming in from Kansas. This offense hasn't looked as electric as we all thought it was going to be. Bo Somer has looked better and better each game. And how do you attack this Penn State defense? You attack it via the air. Both teams play slow pace. It's going to be cold and windy up in Minnesota. I feel 11.5 is just too much. Anything over 10, I want Minnesota. And look, what does Penn State do? It disappoints. What does Franklin do? He disappoints. I think this is the spot where Penn State goes down. I'm doing it. Give me the plus 360 as well.
There we go. And this for some reason, the last game that I'm not showing a line for, and I know you're in on this game, Texas Tech and Oklahoma State.
Dude, what is Dave just tanking over there at Bet Online? Like, what's going on with Davey boy?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm looking at the local book for me that I got.
Okay. So this has it up. I'm looking at it right now this is drifted up to 4. There's a couple 4.5s. Look, I took Oklahoma State. I got a 3.5. I didn't expect it to go up. Obviously, I got a bad number here. Disappointing season for the Pokes. Bowl chances are 0, but I do think they're going to show up for senior day. Gundy, 61% ATS on extended rest. McGuire, 44% ATS as a favorite, as a road favorite, 20%. When we step back, what exactly does Texas Tech have to play for here? They've already qualified for the bowl. Their Big 12 championship aspirations are off. They're insanely banged up on the defensive end, and their defense isn't good to be dealing with outside of the top 90 in the country. Are they going to be able to get stops against this Oklahoma State team, which is a heavy senior-laden team? I know that it's been a disappointing season, but this is like your last hurrah as a senior. Gundy's going to have them there. They're going to be locked in. We're going to see a good effort from the Pokes. Give me OK State here plus the points.
UCF, West Virginia. UCF, a 3-point road favorite. West Virginia plus 130 on the money line. 61.5 is the total. This is kind of a hot seat battle here. I would lean West Virginia because they are at home, but it seems like they don't have the same home field advantage in past years.
I mean, it's one of these things, like some of these teams have aspirations of who they think their coaches should be and what they think they can do. What's the alternative for West Virginia? What's the alternative for UCF? Like what's the rainbow going to be greener at? Had one down year, and we've seen when these teams in multiple sports fire a coach after one bad year, they just don't get back to what they have. I would kind of grind it out with both these coaches. In terms of this game, obviously I'd lead to Morgantown just because crazy shit happens there. But again, this is just a hard pass for me.
San Diego State, Utah State minus 4.5 on the money, or minus 4.5 favorites. San Diego State plus 165 on the money line. Total set at 61.
Nothing. I got nothing here.
Nothing.
San Diego
Nothing here.
Next year, I'll probably be on their team. They're over 4, but in terms of shit right now, no dice.
Citadel, Clemson 49.5 point favorite. Total set at 58.5. Money line is off here. Can Citadel make some magic?
I mean, again, second half under, maybe Citadel second half if it's insane. But again, nothing. Pittsburgh
and Louisville. Louisville, 7.5 point favorite. Pittsburgh plus 230 on the money line. Total set at 57.5. I guess this might fall down to your angle of what is Louisville playing for at this point? Yeah,
like what can they even get in? Like I don't even know that they've lost too much. Yeah, it's one of those things like what have they played for? They already had one of their players transfer out. I would look to fade them, but I got nothing.
Here we go. The biggest game of the day. Louisiana Tech, Arkansas. Arkansas, 23.5 point favorite. Louisiana Tech plus 1,000 on the money line. Total set at 48.5. I hate that this number is this big. You have La Tech coming off of a win. You've got a team that knows that this is probably their best chance to get bowl eligible for the season. I'm afraid Arkansas comes out tight and Louisiana Tech somehow keeps this close. I'm staying away from it because I could be completely wrong. But I'm afraid Louisiana Tech might
I think Arkansas first half is the play to go. I think they're going to come out. Petrino has a history of doing well against these tier 2 schools. I think it's going to be a heavy offensive attack. The scripted plays, they should go. Our girl betting in heels commented, "Let's go ASU beat BYU" on the Instagram chat.
Ooh. Well, that's the opposite direction as me, so I disagree, but thank you for joining and chatting. Wofford, South Carolina. South Carolina's got Clemson on deck, and they are a 42.5 point favorite. 49.5 is the total. And of course, this money line is off. I definitely don't want a South Carolina 43 point ticket in my pocket.
Again, second half under would be the way to go. What these teams are going to do with these big point spreads, they're going to get up. They're going to look to run the clock. Big game coming up. Big recruiting game coming up as well with Clemson. So I'd look to play the second half under and maybe Woodford plus the points if it's anything over a touchdown.
Missouri, Mississippi State. Missouri, 7.5 point favorite. Mississippi State plus 250 on the money line at home. 57.5 is a total. This feels like kind of a Missouri team that's lost its way due to injuries. And I just wish I could get there with Mississippi State. I just can't, though.
I got nothing. Who do you think Mississippi State's next coach will be?
That's tough. I'm not sure. I got to think who all is out there. That might be an attractive spot for Rich Rod. That's just me wishing Rich Rod good things. The Troy Trojans take on the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns. Louisiana Lafayette, 9 point favorite, plus 275 on the money line.
Quarterback is done for the year. Nothing in this game. Nothing in this game.
Same here. Here's the game I'm probably most excited to watch today. It's at 6 p.m. Notre Dame, Army. Notre Dame's a 14.5-point favorite. Total set at Army plus 475 on the money line. Total set at 45.5.
All right. Tell me why. Army. Tell me why I should bet Army here. Tell me why, man.
Notre Dame blew out Navy, who's probably the most comparable team to Army. But the deal was they did it with just sloppy play from Navy. I don't think that Bryson Daly plays sloppy here. I think the triple option is hard to guard. And I think that that Bryson Daly can kind of do work. Now, what I'm afraid of is that it'll be like the Notre Dame Navy game. Whenever they line up for a play, it's like, oh, those are the big guys and those are the tiny guys. They obviously have better athletes, but I think the scheme works for Army. And I'm not saying they win outright, but I think they cover the 14.
I kind of feel Service Academy getting over 2 tutties. I'm seeing a 14.5. I'm doing it, Chase. I'm hopping on the train with you, my friend.
Let's go.
I'm taking Army here.
Hoorah.
Army plus 14.5. I think they're going to be able to move the ball on the ground. I think they're going to be able to control the clock. And the big thing is looking at just pace, both these teams play at an insanely slow pace. So what does that mean? Limited possessions. When you have limited possessions, it's tough to cover these big numbers that are over 2 scores. Also, Navy just shot themselves in the foot, like you said. It was like a 7 turnover game for them. A lot of short fields. So, yeah, I'm on Army here. I got it 14.5.
And those 7 turnovers weren't takeaways. They were self-inflicted. They were 100% self-inflicted.
Yeah, and Horvath was hurt that game, so
Baylor and go ahead.
In the ledger. It's been added to the ledger.
There we go. Baylor and Houston. Houston, an 8-point dog at home. They're plus 275 on the money line. Total set of 50.5. Willie Fritz has this team looking a lot better than I think people anticipated. He's managed to eke out a couple wins. I think they need 2 to get bowl eligible. Do you think they can knock off Baylor?
Baylor's been playing a lot better too. So I was on Houston last week against Arizona, ate some corn on that one. So they're on my do not bet list for this week. Maybe I'm a bitter old man, but yeah, I can't get there. But you got it right. Willie does have him playing better. Another team I think we need to look, kind of seeing how the portal plays out. Another team that needs to be on the radar for some futures for next season. But in terms of this game, hard pass.
The 2-pack has their 2-pack battle tonight. Washington State, Oregon State. Washington State, an 11-point road favorite. Oregon State getting plus 325 on the money line at home. 56.5 is the total. I got to think that Washington State runs away with it. This feels like a little bit of a rivalry game because they're both the only 2 teams left in the 2-pack. So I'm staying away from this. What does Washington State have to play for at this point?
Yeah, they had a bad loss. They lost last week. The other bowl. Any hope they had to make the playoff is gone. This is another game I literally want nothing to do with.
Boise State, Wyoming. Boise State, 22.5-point favorite on the road. Wyoming plus 1,100 on the money line. 55.5 is the total. I think that this is a good number for how bad this Wyoming team is. And I think that Boise State could win with this sort of margin because I think they need style points in addition to wins.
I need to vent. They should have lost to San Jose State. San Jose State got up 14-0. All the momentum in the world. Drove down. Ball was at the 8, the 5, whatever. And instead of just kicking the 3-point, it was at the 3-yard line because it was 4th down and goal. Instead of just taking the 3 points, going up by 3 scores, they call a timeout, decide to go for it, run a trick play swing pass to an offensive lineman in the flat. And then the wheels just fell off. I want nothing to do with this game. I cannot wait to fade Boise State in the Mountain West Championship game against UNLV.
Georgia State, Texas State. Texas State, 21.5-point favorite. Georgia State plus 800 on the money line. 59.5 the total. Texas State, just disappointment for everything that we thought they could be. We figured that they were going to be a cakewalk to the Sun Belt West title.
Yeah, really disappointed with them. I thought they were going to be a lot better. But it's just one of those things, we just got to learn from it and move on and just not bet them the rest of the year.
Alabama, Oklahoma. Alabama 14.5-point road favorite. Oklahoma plus 500 on the money line. 46.5 is the total. I think Alabama's in the same position where they not only have to win, they got to win with style points. So I think that they could cover. But we're also getting to the time of the year where things are, a little bit more important. So you kind of worry a little bit that they might be thinking about the college football playoff and not necessarily the Oklahoma Sooners.
Oklahoma's been a huge disappointment. Obviously, I think they're starting to question this move up to the big boy league in the SEC. Offensive line just can't hang. Obviously, don't have the quarterback play. Alabama, you're right, needs style points. And it wouldn't surprise me if you told me they won this game by 10, it wouldn't surprise me. If you told me they won it 56-3, it wouldn't surprise me. So I'm sitting this one out.
My biggest question about this Alabama game, Erik, is do you want to see this horse?
I do not want to see that horse, my friend.
Turns out Kalen DeBoer's daughter did not want to see that horse either. How fucking stupid can you be?
It's like you just gotta, yeah.
I'm just gonna start randomly DMing people. You want to see the Shetland pony? All right, Texas A&M, Auburn. Auburn getting 2 at home. They're plus 105 on the money line. 46.5 is the total. I'm doing something sacrilegious in my home. I'm taking Texas A&M -2 here.
We got a head-to-head, buddy.
You're taking Auburn?
I'm on the Tigers.
Tell me why.
Well, let's make it fun. Let's have a little T-shirt bet. Loser has to buy the other one a T-shirt. Okay, I'll buy you a nice little Texas A&M football T-shirt if they cover this. Okay.
Whew, okay.
It's just one of those things. Like the spot to me just screams Auburn. Auburn needs to win 2 games. Obviously, it's going to be tough because you have A&M and Alabama, but Alabama's not what it has been in the past, so is doable to get to 6 to make a bowl game. And also A&M needs to win this game, and they have basically a playoff spot against Texas on deck. There was this press conference, and Elko was asked about how do you keep your team focused? And he replied, our team is all focused on Texas, immediately corrected himself to Auburn. Not something he meant to do as funny, just a complete F up on his mark. And that kind of said maybe they are focusing a little bit too much on Texas. Free is 67% ATS as a dog, as a home dog, 71% ATS. Dogs in SEC play this year, 38-20, 65.5% ATS. Auburn defense is good, and I think they're going to be able to limit Texas A&M. And when you look at Texas A&M, what's their best win? Missouri with their backup quarterback?
True.
So I played Auburn here. I got it at 2.5.
And I just, as we were talking, the line ticked down to now Auburn plus 1.5. So it's moving your way.
Jeez, that makes me hate it more.
Iowa State, Utah. Iowa State laying 6.5 on the road. Utah plus 230 on the money line. 42 is the total. This might be the lowest total of the week. I'm not sure.
So Jim and I have talked about this. How do you feel about Cam Rising coming back again?
Just go, dude. Just like you were a good story 2 years ago when we all pulled for you, but now it's just like just go. It's like Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. Just go, dude.
Dude, Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing the Vikings next year. You heard it here first. But Utah disappointing. Obviously, they had higher aspirations for the year. Some bad injury luck. I'm just going to sit this one out.
Marshall, Old Dominion. ODU is a 2.5-point favorite. The Thundering Herd plus 120 on the money line. 51.5 is the total. Two scrappy teams. I think this is a good number because I think this is a pretty close game.
I got nothing here. I literally got nothing here.
Vanderbilt, LSU laying 7.5 at home. Vanderbilt plus 240 on the money line. 53.5 is the total. Can Vanderbilt do it as a dog again?
Don't you kind of feel like we're going to see how good of a coach Kelly is in this game? Like, this is the game we're going to see how good of a coach Kelly is. I don't know. You hear a lot of stuff like the only reason he's still there is because they don't have the money to buy him out. I'm just going to sit this one out and kind of hope I see some crazy shit happen.
Virginia Tech, Duke. Virginia Tech laying 3 on the road. Duke plus 130 on the money line. Total set at 46.5. This Duke team just gets no respect. I think they're a pretty good football team.
And I heard like Virginia Tech was going to sit players out so they're ready for the game next week against Virginia. I want nothing to do here.
Cincinnati, Kansas State. Kansas State 9.5-point favorite. Cincinnati plus 275 on the money line. Total set at 54. Pass.
Yeah, hard pass for me here. I'm not a big fan of this Kansas State team. I think they're a little bit of frauds. Big number to lay with an offense that is kind of limited, but I'm going to sit this one out.
Air Force and Nevada. Nevada 3-point favorite. Air Force plus 125 on the money line. 44.5 is a total. Talk about disappointments. Air Force.
Hey, you know what? They got that plus bet home against Army a couple weeks ago. I'm sitting this one out, though.
USC, UCLA. UCLA getting 3.5 points at, I'm going to air quote this, at home. They're plus 160 on the money line. 52 is the total.
This feels like the least entertaining USC-UCLA game in a while, because at least historically USC's been good, and there's been like, oh, maybe we'll get the little upset with the rivalry game. USC has been a complete and utter disaster this year, moving up in class to the Big Ten. And they need to win. They may not even make a bowl game, dude. They need to win one more game to make a bowl. They have this game and then Notre Dame on deck. Are we living in a world where USC doesn't make a bowl game? And is Lincoln Riley, is his seat hot?
I think so. I don't think that struggling to make a bowl game flies at USC. You don't. Basically, I think that the value that he brought to USC was that he brought Caleb Williams now. And now that he doesn't have Caleb Williams, I think there are some cracks that are starting to show, because I don't think he's recruiting at the same level that he was recruiting at when he was at Oklahoma.
Oh my God. He's got a huge buyout, so they won't fire him. He would have to leave.
Oh man, that's a tough situation.
A 10-year, $110 million contract.
And he's in what, year 2, year 3?
I think it's year 2. No, year 3. Has a reported buyout of $90 million.
Fuck. Talk about saddling yourself with.
Jesus, dude. Us. Okay. So much for that.
Made out like a bandit.
$90 million, dude.
That's not to go away. $90 million to go away.
$90 million to go away.
That's the American dream right there. Colorado State, Fresno, last game of the slate. Fresno is laying 3 against Colorado State. A little surprising to me. Plus 140 on the money line for Colorado State. 45 is the total. This line stinks. This should be Colorado State favored on the road, right?
Yeah. I want nothing to do.
I'm going to add it as a late play here. I'm going to take Colorado State plus the 3. The line stinks. I'm leaning into it. I'm taking Colorado State here. And that's it. That's your Saturday.
You could still make the Mountain West Championship.
Yeah, they're probably Boise. They might be Boise State's biggest roadblock to go into the college football playoff.
Yeah, it's either them or UNLV. I think UNLV still has an inside path. I think UNLV would have to drop one.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, that is the full slate.
What's Jimmy on today, man? What's Jimbo on today?
What is Jim on today? I've got the full list here. He is on. Let's go ahead. Let's show it off. Here's our week 13 picks. Jim, who we hope will pull through. He's on death's door. Indiana plus 10.5. He's got the Indiana Ohio State over 52.5. He's on Boston College on the money line plus 120. Western Kentucky money line minus 105. Kennesaw State plus 9. Stanford plus 15. Army plus 14. Colorado State money line plus 135. I like that Colorado State money line, Jim, if you're watching. I feel like all the games that we couldn't quite get there with, Jim got all the way there with. So, Uncle Rico, what's your round robin?
It is UVA, Maryland, Minnesota, Oklahoma State, and Kansas.
I went with a all money line round robin, just swinging for the fences. Army money line, Indiana money line, Illinois money line, Western Kentucky money line, and BYU money line. Jim's round robin, also all money lines. Indiana, Florida, Army, Kansas, BYU, Boston College, and Colorado State. And Uncle Rico, it would not be a college football tailgate if Jim didn't have a teaser. So here we go. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 legs plus 1,100 play. He's got JMU teased down to minus 1.5. Illinois teased up to plus 7.5. Kansas State teased down to minus 2.5. Baylor teased down to minus 2. Louisville teased down to minus 1.5. SMU teased down to 4.5. And Iowa State teased down to minus 1. How disgusting is that play?
That is filth.
Absolutely gross.
Filth.
Disgusting.
Filth.
At least he's getting double-digit odds here, though. That's to be fair on a teaser.
Teasers just suck. I love Jim to death, but I'm not the biggest teaser connoisseur.
By the way, we had a question in the comments here. Any game y'all really like today? If we were going to go consensus play, it's Army.
Oh yeah, Army. The bet I like the most, though, with the ones I'm doing, is Kansas.
Okay. My probable favorite outside of Army is Texas A&M minus 2 there.
Okay.
And that's it. We've given you plays. We've given you round robins. We've given you a big, disgusting teaser. What else can we do for the people, Uncle Rico?
I don't know if we can do anything else. Appreciate all you guys tuning in on Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, wherever, YouTube. Hopefully made you guys some money, and hopefully we survive Thanksgiving and we'll be back here next week.
That's right. That's going to do it.
Friday. TBD, to be determined.
To be determined when we'll be back next week.
Saturday for sure. Maybe Friday, depending on how much sitting of little nephews I'm going to be watching.
Right. Well, Uncle Rico, as always, it has been a pleasure. You have been watching the College Football Tailgate Big Show. We will catch you next week. Bye-bye.